Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the Chiron in Aries 2018 to 2027 transit part 2. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the transit's possible impact on the zodiac signs Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. And yes, it does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing off is as far as Aries goes, well, the first house is what's going to be emphasized and highlighted with this transit. So there can be perhaps physical injuries to the face and the head. There could even be brain injuries, and it might be injuries due to foolhardy, reckless, impulsive actions. Also, it could be very strong issues of unworthiness, and it could be, especially if we're talking about, well, the ascendant, and it's actually hitting the literal first house in someone's natal chart. It could be unworthiness connected, feelings of unworthiness connected with the physical body and the appearance. If it's the sun, it could be with who the person is, who the person truly is. And if it's the moon, it can be on an unconscious level, perhaps some feelings of unworthiness. Now, also issues with the vitality and stamina. There might be some suffering connected with that and some difficulties. Also, there might be some emotional suffering, emotional wounds connected with maybe either being overly aggressive or assertive on as far as a first impression, or it could be lack of that. Now, also, too, there can be some suffering, perhaps there's some issues connected with maybe contentious, combative person from an early childhood, and also contentious situations with that one or more of these people. Now, at the same time, remember, Chiron is the wounded healer, and this could be where Aries may be having some difficulty in connection, or going through emotional suffering and wounds in connection with this Chiron and Aries period. He or she could help other people dealing with comparable issues, and doing so with Aries like outspokenness, fortitude, courage, and assertiveness and aggressiveness. Now, as far as next sign, Taurus goes, well, the 12th house is what's going to be emphasized and highlighted. And I'm going to have this in my own 12th house in my natal chart for most of the transit. Now, this could be really, Taurus at this time may be dealing, if there's lack of worthiness and identity, if Taurus goes through this, it could lead to succumbing to secluded habits and becoming reclusive. It could also be anger issues, perhaps attributed to not getting out of secluded habits and habits connected with solitude. I'm very introverted. I actually go through this anyway pretty consistently, so this could be something to really consider for me to look at as far as this transit goes for me. Now, also, too, Taurus might have to deal with some emotional suffering connected with lack of enterprise and initiative in private matters, or maybe even trying to weed out hidden adversaries. Now, also, too, it could be anger issues may lead to self-undoing for Taurus, and there might be strong repercussions because of this. Now, also, too, for Taurus, might be dealing with acrimonious and contentious private battles, which could lead, of course, be connected with those strong emotional wounds. Now, also, too, in some isolated, in some cases, there can be some issues for Taurus due to lack of aggression and assertiveness in combating or dealing with limitations and restrictions. And in some isolated cases, Taurus might be dealing with an onset of some kind of mental illness if there's other factors in the chart that might reaffirm this. Now, I mean, such as an angry, like an Aries, like an angry mental illness, such as oppositional defiant disorder. I mean, this is like making an adverse aspect to your natal Mars or something, or you got other things in the chart which might reaffirm or reinforce maybe a possibility or propensity for some kind of mental illness. Then this could really this could intensify it. Now, uh, but as far as Taurus goes, well, and issues that they might be dealing with in connection with this Chiron and Aries transit, well, they could actually, I mean, help others dealing with comparable situations, as Chiron is the wounded healer, and do so with Aries outspokenness, aggressiveness, assertiveness, courage, and fortitude. Now, the next thing up is, well, now, as far as Gemini goes, well, the 11th house is what's going to be emphasized and highlighted for Gemini. And there might be unworthiness for Gemini connected with lack of feeling wanted in groups and in clubs during this period. And also, maybe there's some emotional suffering and wounds connected with acrimonious, contentious situations with friends and acquaintances. Now, hey, Gemini might have an identity crisis anyway, so I mean, this area in this, but in all seriousness, I mean, this Chiron Aries thing will be dealing with a lot of those identity issues, of course, and worthiness and feeling like, are you worth anything? And back to as far as Gemini goes, well, Gemini might also be going through facing strong repercussions due to lack of enterprise and initiative and aspirations and goals, not capitalizing on opportunities connected with them, perhaps. And over impetuousness and impulsiveness may affect or impact the future for Gemini, perhaps in an adverse or negative manner. Now, also, friends might become a figurative headache, might even cause some literal ones in some cases, or exacerbate some existing ones. Now, and there might be sorrows in dealing with Aries like groups, such as something connected with mixed martial arts, karate, boxing, firefighting, or the military, for example. And there might also be difficulties for Gemini at this time dealing with agitated, sometimes volatile, acerbic people in connection with groups, organizations, or even social media. Now, as far as Gemini goes, well, remember again, Chiron is the wounded healer, and any difficulties Gemini might be facing in connection with this transit, as far as Chiron and Aries goes, they could help others out dealing with comparable situations, and do so with a lot of that Aries like fortitude, courage, valor, aggressiveness, and assertiveness, and outspokenness even. Now, going to the zodiac sign Cancer, well, the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, for Cancer, perhaps at this time, I mean, it can be some sorrows and emotional wounds associated with confrontational, combative situations with authority figures and dominant parents as well, and dealing with perhaps bellicose superiors. Some cases it might be dealing with some sorrows for not taking action in these matters and not showing initiative and enterprise and capitalizing on opportunities to do these things. Now, also too, there can be difficulties with lack of initiative and aggressiveness and assertiveness pertaining to career matters, and perhaps improving stature in life, and potentially gaining recognition as well. Sorrows due to lack of courage, fortitude, ability to be confrontational and standing up maybe to dominant parents and or authority figures. But at the same time, what Cancer can do, and also Cancer is a sign, I mean, it's not just introvert, it can be very passive and non-confrontational anyway, which can make it even difficult for Cancer. Cancer can be somewhat timid and passive, but I mean, they may be good in standing up for family members, but a lot of times, sadly, not always in a lot of other scenarios. But getting back to this transit, and as far as the zodiac sign Cancer goes, well, again, and these issues that Cancer may be dealing with, might be having difficulty in dealing with, they can help others dealing with comparable dilemmas and situations, and do so with a lot of that Aries fortitude, courage, valor, aggressiveness, assertiveness, and outspokenness. Now, going to Leo. Well, for Leo at this time, the ninth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, for Leo may be going through, at this time, there might be some emotional wounds and difficulties connected with dealing with combative situations, contentious situations, perhaps with in-laws and grandchildren. And at this time, there might be difficulty as well taking leadership roles in religious situations, such as at a congregation or church, which might lead to some sorrow. Could it be maybe lack of enterprise and initiative connected with higher education, long distance traveling, and opportunities for publishing, not capitalizing on opportunities to put something in writing and to be published. Now, it could be dealing with recalcitrant, angry haters, actually publishing things perhaps to Leo's detriment at this time, and which could lead to some kind of sorrows and despondency. Now, also there might be a sense of unworthiness, perhaps connected with maybe in-laws, grandchildren, and foreigners, and maybe not. Maybe they're making you feel that way, or for whatever reason, or you don't feel like you're really maybe there's something that they say to you that makes you feel that way at this time, or just something, or maybe a theory that you develop that you feel like you could be doing more for them, and maybe you feel like you're not, so you might develop those that idea about yourself as well at this time, unfortunately. So anyway, well, again, as far as Leo goes, well, Leo, the difficulties they may be going with this Chiron transit at this time, they could actually help others dealing with comparable or similar situations, and do so with that Aries-like courage, fortitude, valor, aggressiveness, assertiveness, and outspokenness. Now, going to the zodiac sign Virgo. Well, for Virgo, the 8th house will be emphasized and highlighted as far as this transit goes. Now, for Virgo, well, in some cases, in all seriousness, there may be some psychological warfare and combat going on with others at this time, which could lead to some strong sorrow, despondency, and emotional wounds. Now, this also can be maybe Virgo might be going through some suffering and face some strong repercussions, and connected with lack of initiative, aggressiveness, enterprise, and dealing with taxes, insurance matters, and even matters pertaining to a potential inheritance, perhaps. And also maybe dealing with an acrimonious or acerbic sexual partner, or dealing with contentious situations with one. And there may be some feelings of unworthiness, whether it might be from just a general sexual standpoint as far as performance in some isolated cases, or maybe where Virgo might feel he or she is not worthy of having an intimate, deep connection, or having that sexual relationship. So also, at this time, there could also be some difficulty and sorrows connected with surgery, and it could be connected pertaining to an Aries, part of the body. Could be connected with the face, or lower jaw, head, or brain. Now, also too, there can be lack of, and also there might be a lack of assertiveness in dealing maybe with crisis situations, making a major change or transformation, or dealing with insurance or inheritance matters. Life and death situations might cause very strong sorrow and despondency at this time. In some isolated cases, something even connected with gunfire. Now, at the same time for Virgo, while Virgo, in the areas that they're having difficulty with in connection with this transit, they could help others out dealing with comparable ones, and doing so, of course, with that Aries aggression, courage, fortitude, and forcefulness. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. For my take on the Chiron in Aries transit 2018 to 2027, Part 2. Stay tuned next time where I will be where I'm going to talk about the Chiron in Aries 2018 to 2027, Part 3, and I'm going to talk about the transit's possible impact on the zodiac signs Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.